G'day, Ianapolis here, your acrylic guru. Welcome to me video. Today we're going to do that painting you've seen on the opening credits there, that picture. And I have a 30 centimetre by 42 centimetre canvas board. And we're going to start with the sky half first, and then we'll get down to the bottom half, alright? So this is going to have a big, beautiful crested moon. So make sure you have a stencil cut out for your moon size that you want. I've got my appropriate size there. And I'm just going to pull to the side a bit like a gentleman so we can get the colours going up the screen like that, and you can pause them and write them down so as we're not going too fast for you, alright? I think they're done, hopefully. Alright, so I'm going to start with me stuff on the palette here, which is my flowing white and retarder, which is a slow drying medium that slows down the acrylic paint drying time. And I've got a decent sized brush to apply it to my canvas panel. Alright, so come down here and we'll get into it. I've got some flowing white and some retarder. Now I've also got some blue. I've just chosen to use French ultramarine blue and a bit of quinacridone magenta for later on. So I want to get me brush. It's dry, hasn't had anything done to it. I've got my retarder mixing with my flowing white paint. And this is virtually going to prime up my canvas panel. Now we're going to start with the sky first, so we'll get this on. I want to try and work quicker than normal today, so as I am not mucking around. We'll get that all the way down there. And that's got retarder in it, and that's ready to rock and roll with our sky colour. A subtle sky colour. Work out where you want your horizon line. I want mine about there. I'm going to grab some of the French ultramarine and mix it with this white. I want it very pale blue. Let's grab a bit more flowing white. There's not quite enough there. This is just craft paint, and then we can add a much more blue if we need, but I think that's the colour I want. And I want the sky pretty much brushed in just to the sky level there. Crisscross it, get it onto your canvas board, your canvas, stretch canvas, your paper, whatever you use, and brush stroke them out across the page like that. Nice and easy. We can come back later and blend out any scratchy marks out of that. Now back down here, I've got the quinacridone magenta. I want to get some of that. It's got retarder laced with it as well. And I want to start mixing up a very soft violety colour. See, that's looking a bit red. I'll add some more flowing white, and I can darken that appropriately if I need be. But I just want it subtle. Now we're going to stamp that on to the bottom of our sky, which our horizon line's roughly there. So we're going to stamp this on just across there like that. Go across the page, dazzle it onto that paint. Why I'm stamping it on? Because I don't want to scratch it too much into that blue. That'll do. And I'm going to grab a soft blending brush. I've got one of my blending brushes. And I want to blend this into the blue. So we've got a beautiful soft transition of that hazy horizon line into the soft blue colour that's not so bright and blue, okay? And then we'll just come down and kill that. Now have a rag when you blend so you can wipe as you go. And we just want to softly get that up. Now I'm going to blend me sky. Just get the brush strokes out of it. I'm just dabbing it on, dancing it on. Now back on my palette, I'm using my fan brush. This is a hog bristle fan brush. I want to use this to create some clouds, subtle clouds, and I'm using titanium white. There's no other medium mixed in this, okay? So let's say over here, I want to stamp some of this on, okay? Just like that, because this corner here, I want like a glare in the sky. Grab your blending brush and a rag and push that down into the blue, and twist your brush in all different angles to get some different shapes of that glare everywhere, okay? See, like that? And we want to soften this into our background colour there. Wipe your brush. The more you wipe the brush, the better your paint's going to blend. You can control the evenness of it all. I want this real glary. Just so we've got a nice pale corner over here. I'll bring it off to the painting there. Come down into that. Now this painting probably doesn't need a cloud, but just for the art's sake, I want to put some sort of cloud there. So I don't know, maybe something in this corner just to give it a cloud. So I'm imagining my cloud, so I'm making the top of it. I'm not worried about the bottom part. That's all going to come into play later. So I want to sort of put a cloud here, and then I can create the body of my cloud. Just something like that. It's kind of a cumulus cloud sitting up there. Grab your blending brush, blend from about halfway down, and see how I'm disappearing this into the sky? That's what you want to do. Tickle the tops a bit just so they're soft, not so thick and heavy body paint sitting there. And we're getting a soft cloud. I'll give it a bit of a bottom. We can come down to that colour there. Now it's one dimension. See there, it's just a flat white cloud. Now I've got a smaller fan brush and I'm going to pick up some of the toning grey. This was bought in a tube, I didn't mix it, but you can mix your own grey up. Create the bottom of your cloud and some darker aspects within it. Just like that. And we want to soften that into the cloud now. This will give it the 2-dimension stage in my eyes. Give it the bottom. Now I'm finding this a bit heavy there. I want it softened into that. So I'm going to soften it in. Soften those colours up. And then the third stage will be, as you all know who follow me, the yumminess part of it. And we'll just go back to our white brush. I'll pick some up. I want to create the yumminess. Now with this yumminess, you're sitting it down over the grey a bit, but you're not killing the brightness of it, okay? Let me quickly just scoot that there. Play with it. Distort all those brush marks that you put in there. And there we got something in the sky just for the art's sake. It didn't need the cloud, but we wanted one there. I wanted one there. Now I've dried this. That's enough as I want the sky to be before I put the moon. So this is the size of the moon I want to use in this sky. So I'll put that roughly where I want it, somewhere about there. It's just a little bit off centre. I'll take that on. Now you need a sponge here. Alright, I want to mystify my sponge just so it's not dry. And we'll get this ready. We're going to use both sides of or both ends of the sponge, okay? Now down here we have this polluted colour. Because we've got this colour in the atmosphere, we need this in the moon. So we just get that on there. Now this is going to be a crested moon, so I'll prime it up with this colour. Just like so. Just around there. And over the top there somewhere. That'll do. Alright, back down here I've got the titanium white. So I'm going to incorporate that onto my sponge, just a kitchen sponge, any sort of sponge you feel happy with. And we want to cover this outside edge. Some of that pink can stay there. Not a lot of it, but just some of it. And we're going to stamp this on. Let it evaporate into that pink so it's already done its blending for you, okay? Play around with these moons if you haven't done them before like this. And it's up to you how detailed you want it, but I want some of that colour blending with this white. Just turn the sponge around, get some of that grey. Now none of this has the retarder in it. So now I still want to leave this violety colour here. I want to sort of get a hint of grey here and then back highlight it with the white. So let's work out where it's going to go. Oh, I'm going too much over the pink, so I've got to adjust. That's it. Don't be too heavy-handed, but like I said, play around and practice this. That's enough. Now I'm going to pick up the white again, back onto the white, and just give that its highlighted edge. Okay, and then we'll peel that off and just see how that looks. Where are we? Now just a few more things to finish it off. I'm going to blow dry this moon, but before I do, I've just got myself a little brush and I want to kind of just distort some of that stampy pattern I've got going on in there, see? And wipe it. Come down to something and wipe it. Don't overdo it, but you could probably twist some sort of crater in it if you can. But I'm just sort of killing some of that stampy pattern there. Now I'll dry it and we'll just bring this cloud in front of it again now. Now I'm going back to my fan brush that I used to put this cloud on and my little blending brush because I want to bring this in front of it. So I'm going to pick up some of the white and I want to come from about here. Now watch, all that's dry. So I've got this little blending brush. I want to soften just the bottom half of that into this cloud, and if we need to work some of the grey back to give it some uniform, we'll do that. Okay, and we'll bring this distinctively in front of the moon. There we go. Now quickly, before that dries, you want to blend this down into the atmosphere, leaving the top half. Don't have your brush too wet, otherwise you can start washing your paint into the canvas. Leaving the top half reasonably sharp and white, so it's pushing that moon back because the moon is obviously behind the clouds, not in front. And like I said, if we need to put some of that grey back in the bottom of this cloud, which I think I will, I'm just going to wipe the brush, pick up some grey and wipe it back off. So there's very minimal on there, and I'm just sort of dancing some shadow into that cloud there like that, okay? All right, how are we all doing? We all caught up? Have yourself a coffee break, have a smile and get back into it. Now before we put the horizon line in, I want you to grab yourself a bit of tape, preferably low tacking tape. Low tacking tape is less sticky tape. Now put this where you want your horizon line, okay? I want mine about there. I don't want it all the way down here. It's too much of this. I want that about there. So then I'll put this onto that spot and just lightly push that on. So when I peel it off, it's not going to peel all my paint and paper off because it's a low tacking tape, okay? Back down to my palette, I've changed brushes. I want to use this to get the nice lines in my water. And I've just got phthalo turquoise and the quinacridone magenta. I've mixed some of that with this, which gave me this darker colour, because I want a dark, medium, and a bit of white's going to make it the light. So we're going to have those three colours in our water just to keep it simple, okay? So let's start with this. Now I want to grab some of the magenta and do another pile over here just to get that a bit darker. This does have retarder in it because I want it to flow. So I want to get that all the way across there. Pick some more up. Get the brush on its edge. Now she's getting a bit dry here. It's a very warm day, so I'm going to wet that a little bit just so as I've got some movement there. There we go. That's me dark colour. out in the open. I'm picking up the phthalo turquoise now with some retarder in it, and I want to come from about here. So this is pretty green out there. Pick up some more. I got the flow white there. I want to pick some of that up. I'm dirtying it in my brush. Come from about here and bring that up into that turquoise there. Now that's pretty much what I want to do there. I want to get this and come over the whole lot now and start dragging. So we're getting that scratched water feeling. Oh, what's going on there? I want a bit of darkness up the top, so I'll just add it there. Bring the brush sideways. We've got the darkness out in the deep ocean there. I've dried that slightly, so it's still rubbery damp, but not full wet. I want to take this off. Oh, that went on a bit tight. So we've got darkness out into the deep ocean there. Now I just want a basic but effective wave coming all the way across. So I want it to about here. I'm just going to scratch into that, and I want to come sort of over there. This is going to be all the darker area, okay? And then from about here, maybe about here, it's just going to crash into the water there. And this other side's probably going to come up to it, all right? Okay, back down here, I've got that little blending brush, and I've just got a filbert brush here. All right, that filbert brush is going to pick up just the phthalo turquoise. Now, roughly, we want to bring this, that's why I slowly dried this. We want to bring this to that top edge that you scratched in. Okay, stamp it in if you have to. This can sort of feather out just to about there. Because what you want to do is grab this little blending brush and slightly bleed that into this other blue. Dab that down just to kill those little weird brush marks you've put in there. Just so this is darker values of the water. That's it. I'm going to wipe it and slowly fade it into this little area down here. This is going to be sitting back with some whitewash. Okay, so we'll move along the wave. So we're going to bring that all the way. So let's just get it on. Now your wave can be any shape you want. Doesn't have to be that particular signature look. Waves can look like anything because they're a part of nature. Now we can scratch that line back. So I'm just using the end of a sharpened brush here. So it's sort of going to come along here. One of some pockets of dark, and then it's going to crest right across there. That's where it's hitting the flat of the water, and then this other half sort of coming up as well, just like that. Now we need to finish this bottom bit, so back with our paint down here, we'll pick up some more of that with the white in it, just so we can quickly put this in to get our whitewash on top of it. It needs this underneath it to create the depth of our whitewash, because this is going to have a deep bank. Now I'm going to do the spray on this last. I want to get all the detail of that wave done. Grab your fan brush. Now I've got the fan brush again that I use for my clouds, and that little blending brush. Just pick up some of this titanium white out of the tube, no retarder in it. And we're going to come from here. We want bits laced in there, coming up. Do this very gingerly, because from here is going to be scattered wash and there's going to be solid wash. Okay, so we'll sort of get this to the scattered wash where we want before we start bringing it into a solid wash. Now I'm grabbing that little blending brush and I want to wipe your brush constantly, otherwise you're going to put too much white, and push all that into the water. Backwards and forwards, horizontal movements, so you're virtually giving your painting a horizontal refreshment. See, there's a lot of stark white there. You want that gone. You just want it subtle. And if you feel it's too glary and white, you can pick up some of that blue with the white in it and sort of soften it down again, okay? Now it's important we keep this dark bit under here. I want to wipe that brush and bring some of this into the wave that's coming up. I'm sort of giving it those motions of the wave. It's just minimal, but it's getting rid of that horrible amateur edge. Now we're going to do that all the way along here. Just like that. Stop and get that all. Wipe your brush. And scatter that through. See how they're sort of keeping the dark edge there a little bit? If I'd done too much, see, it becomes hard to smudge that into the rubbery, not quite dry paint underneath. Just to finish it off. Wipe your brush. Now I'm going to get a bit of white and just give this some dimension. Lightly, I want to leave that brightness there, but take away a lot of it. So you've just got a hint of dimension in that open wash at the bottom of your wave. This is detail here. So you've got one there, probably something there. Wash it down. I want to sort of get some sort of sense of brightness just under here. I'm just dabbing it around, but leaving the darker colour there. Next bit to finish that off is to put the solid wash now. So we're just going to virtually leave some blue there, but this is coming down into the actual shore here. So this is the solid wash now. Because it's more violent and agitated, it's more frothy and foamed up. So we'll quickly put that in, grab that brush and push it all through the different areas and angles and directions like that. That way, that's why I painted that blue underneath, because if I just painted it on the white board, it would have looked a bit empty under there. So we're picking up some of that rubbery, not quite dried turquoise blue and coming through there, okay? Now see here how it's a bit stamped effect. You want to sort of, for detail, kill some of that. Because this here as well, we can highlight with some yumminess as well. Pick up some more, get some more vibrant bits there. Quickly dance them in. Why I'm saying quickly is because today's a bit of a warm day here and I don't want it to dry on me. So always work out your weather climate when you're painting, how it's going to affect your work. Alright, I've picked up a flat brush. Just get a little bit of this white on there and your blending brush, okay? And while I've picked up the flat brush, this is a bit, I want to put some of this. See, that's slowly blending in with that wet rubbery paint that we didn't quite dry up there. And we're getting some sort of light bouncing off the surface of the ocean out there. Just something to give the art that art's sake. And now I'm getting that blending brush, and I want to lightly kill any uniform patterns in those brush marks and just give it a bit more of a nature look about it. Just like that. Just so we've got some movement out there as well, but subtle. Sometimes the most subtlest actions gives the most impact. Now to finish that wave off, I've got a round brush here. It's a number 6. It's a quite a coarse haired one, and I like this for get it stamped in and go back to that flathead one as well, because that's going to get the skinnier bits and the round one's going to get the heavier bits. So here we've got some very skinny white on top of the wave there, so I'm using the flathead brush. Jingle that across there. Okay, just like that. And then we'll bring this over there. It's given us our edge. I think that's about as far as I want to go with that one, because I want to use the other brush now. So I'm picking up that round number 6 that I've got, and I want to give this its front area and create the wash. I'm not going to put white on that back edge because this wash is pretty much going to come all the way over that. This has got wind spraying in it, okay? Alright, I had to go and charge my battery up, so I've coloured in that scratch line so you won't see that, and we are getting the whitewash on that round number 6, and we've sort of come along here and we want some lines going up over the wave like that, because this is all spraying, the wind's lifting it up. Okay, and we want to bring this, keeping that darkness, so come across the front here, keeping that darkness underneath it, and try and get this all the way up there, spraying up. That's it. You don't want too much on your brush when you're doing this, otherwise you can kind of hurt your painting there. Now we'll get all this up there. I'm dabbing it on and then sort of wiping it off, because we want to see the turquoise under this. Now I want to get some of it just on the, come back over here, see the top, and just lightly start scratching some of them down. So you've got a distinct top on that spray. Not too bright though. Now we'll fix this up. Get the bottom. What I'm doing this. We don't want to kill too much of this dark blue behind. So grab your rag. I'm grabbing this little one, and I want to blend some of that into there. So we'll sort of get 2 dimensions with this white. So we've done that. Grab a bit more, and you work your way along the wave. So along here it's a bit more white. Leaving that dark underneath it. Don't go into that dark and kill it. I've wiped that brush and I'm kind of blurring that up into there, just to give it a nature's look. So you're virtually doing that. I'm just looking in the monitor to see how it's looking. It's coming along reasonably well. and kill the beginning of that into the wash. Don't bring it all the way up. Sometimes a second look or watch of something, you pick up more. Now I'm grabbing this blending brush, and sometimes there's probably not enough of some bits there, so I want to darken it up a bit with some light values. Because what I'm doing, I want to sort of, you know how I've done misty clouds? I want to turn this into mist at the top of the spray as well. So it's mystifying the aspects of the wave. How's that looking? Being sure not to kill this dark band that's within there. Alright, so this is just our mist. Get it on there, wipe your blending brush. And you can see the difference from here to there. And mist it into the air and whatnot, in the wind it's creating. You've created wind in your picture. If you really wanted to bring the cows home with this, you can detail it more with the white. But that's all the spray. I've got a script liner, and see here, I just want to sort of, well, you know, get this paint reasonably damp on your brush so it'll flow off. And we're going to create some of these wash tracks that are within the wave in this area here, but sort of something like that. And if you think it's working for your painting, the trick is to keep going it that way. But if you think it's not, just stop, okay? Because sometimes we can get carried away and forget to stop. I don't know, how's that working? That's not too bad. I'm not overly impressed with it, but I don't hate it. Now, just to bring the picture home, I'm grabbing some titanium white. I'm going to make a new colour, just enough to paint in front of that violent wash. And I want to pick up the smallest amount of Van Dyke brown, and I want to make like a type of a beachy sand colour. Get it the colour I want. I will give it a spray with water, that way it'll flow better. And that's the sort of colour I want. I'll go a little bit lighter. So now we want to come across, keeping this reasonably sharp. We'll come across and up there like that. And we want to paint all this in, keeping the top sharp. Because this is the beach where, you know how some of the banks are higher, they're not flat like a lagoon. This is like a beach where the water has dropped down off the shoreline. Alright, now I'm going to dry that just so as it's not going opaque through to the blue here. Okay, we'll finish this off. I'm not going to make it like a U, I'll give it a bit of a artistic look. See, we've painted, we've dried that. So now that's not going on so opaque. Now I want to get some of the darker tone of this. Reasonably darker, but not too blacky dark. I'm just seeing how that's going to look. That's going to probably do it. Why I've picked up this little cat's tongue brush, because I can get small little footprints in the sand. And let's just say start from here and put some, where is it? See that? I'm going to dry it. Okay, very lightly, so these are nice and thin. Someone's walked across. Are they looking like footprints? Yeah. They've sort of walked along. Look at the beach, love. It looks good. Hey, come over here. Where are you going? I'm standing here. We'll give each other a cuddle. They're looking at the waves. They stood there. And then they've gone for a walk. These are just slight details of a footprints walking off. Now what I'm going to do, if you want to get edgy, I'm just going to start mixing that into the straight Van Dyke brown, just so those footprints have more pizzazz. So we'll find an area very thinly giving it a darker value within that footprint. So we've got light and dark values in every footprint. It's just giving it a bit more wow. And we'll give this an autograph. I'm just going to use some of this into the lighter colour there. Make sure it's moist so it's going to flow off your brush beautifully. And we'll put something subtle here. Oh, it's not dark enough. Alright, we'll go a little bit darker. There we go. See, my brush is a bit dry. I need it wet, and then the paint will flow off it. There we go. Signatures are funny things. They either suit a painting, they're not bad, or sometimes they can really spoil a painting. You learn as you sign your work. Okay, we'll take this tape off and frame it. There we go, that is not too shabby, I don't reckon. We've got a nice sky, a crested moon over the ocean with the wind-swept wave washing onto the shore there. So be sure to share my work and subscribe if you haven't already subscribed, alright? And all my paintings are for sale. Some of them get more detailed after filming because it's a bit of a push with time as we're painting along. Alright, tell your friends if you like what I've done, and if you don't, tell everybody, alright? Goodbye, good luck, and good on ya!